It's coming.
All these voices. All these voices. All these things you can't explain. All these painful memories. They keep haunting you. It's daunting me. It's just the ghosts of you and me. It's just the smoke and gasoline. It's just the ghosts of you and me. Of you and me. All these whispers. All these
My name is James Hershey.
footsteps in the rain.
Right back.
All these shadows in my mind. With my reflection I can't find. It's just the ghosts of you and me. It's just the smoking gasoline. It's just the
That ought to
ghosts
do
of
it.
you and me. Of you and me. Don't let them take you away. Don't let them bring you down inside. It's just the mirrors in your mind. Don't let them bring you down.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, Old Boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody tonight? And happy winter solstice, guys.
Tonight's going to be a fun show because it's our Christmas show, basically. Last year, we did like a history of Christmas kind of thing. We talked about Krampus some. We talked about all kinds of cold, wintry, Christmassy things. This year, I thought it would be kind of fun to do something a little different. And instead of having your standard staring show where we get deep into research and all that kind of stuff, I thought this one could be a little bit more of a personal show. It would be a lot more interesting because it'd be a side of us that you don't ordinarily get to see. So on tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about what Christmas means to us and some of our favorite Christmas memories. So I'll start off. For me, Christmas is a very, very special time of year. Now, you have a lot of arguments back and forth between people of the pagans will say, well, you know, they stole Christmas. Christmas used to be this, that, or the other thing. And then the Christians say, no, it's about Jesus' birth. And I don't really care about all that, be honest with you. I don't care what Christmas used to be. I don't care what you think Christmas is. You can think Christmas is whatever you want. The more important thing for me is that Christmas is a very, very special time of year because it is the one time of year that everybody has their best self on display. You know, everybody is trying to be good and trying to do good. And it's that one time of year when you kind of build up a stockpile of goodness and hope that kind of lasts the rest of the year. You know, Christmas is the one time of year where we're all reminded of how we're supposed to be, but never seem to be the rest of the year. And that's why, to me, Christmas is so amazing. Now, whether you believe Christmas is the celebration of Jesus' birthday, or whether you believe it is, you know, the winter solstice and it comes from Yule and all that, that to me doesn't really matter. I'm not one of those people that gets offended if you don't say the right thing at Christmas. Because I know some people, if I tell them Merry Christmas, they get offended. There's no, you have to say Happy Holidays, or Happy Kwanzaa, or Happy Winter Solstice, or whatever. To me, it doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want. If you want to wish me a Happy Hanukkah because you're Jewish, I'm not going to get offended at that just because I'm not Jewish, because to me, it is a nice sentiment either way. You are wishing me a good time. Whether it is Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Yule, Happy, whatever. So I don't get hung up on that. A lot of people do. And a lot of Christians get really hung up on that. And I think it's a waste of time. As long as you're being kind and you're wishing me well, hey, I'll take it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I think it should work in reverse too. I don't see any reason why we should have to fight and argue about Christmas. Christmas is supposed to be that time of year where you love and care about people. And to me, that's what's so amazing about Christmas is it's the one time a year that you can get something nice and amazing for the people you love. That's really cool, you know. And that leads me into some of my favorite Christmas memories. I'm going to break this down into two different categories, I guess. The first is my favorite gifts I've received, and the second will be my favorite gifts I've given and my favorite kind of memories. I don't really concentrate a whole lot, honestly, on what I received for Christmas. I haven't really since I was a little kid. We would get, one big present every year, and then we'd get some small presents. When I was a very young child, we were very, very poor. There was a time when we weren't even quite sure if we were going to have dinner all the time. We would do the Kraft macaroni and cheese. We would do the cans of Spam and potted meat, Vienna sausages, stuff like that. Very, very cheap food, a lot of pasta. Something we could get for not a lot of money because we didn't have a lot of money. I remember one year McDonald's was doing this promotion. It's kind of like the Monopoly game they do now, but it was based around the Olympics. And on their containers of fries and their sandwiches, you would have these little peel-off things. And when you peeled it off, it would have an event. And if the United States won a gold medal in that event, then you would win whatever was listed on the little thing. And it just so happened that year, the United States did very, very well in the Olympics, and they got a whole lot of gold medals, which was really, really sweet for us because that's how we fed ourselves for that period of time, basically, was we would be able to get free food from McDonald's because the United States got so many gold medals, which was awesome. So we didn't have a lot of money. So back in that time, it was like you got one good gift for Christmas, and then you'd get the obligatory socks and underwear kind of deal. But it would mainly be one main gift. As time went on, we were able to get more because my father was in the military, and as he rose in rank, our pay increased. And as I got older, I started mowing lawns and started doing things to make money. And, the family grew in wealth as we went along. But I remember my first favorite Christmas present I ever got was a Super Nintendo because I'm a big game guy. I love playing video games. And I remember all I wanted for Christmas that year was this Super Nintendo. And they had a good year that year. Mom was able to do some work too, and there was a little bit more money. So I got my Super Nintendo, and I got like 2 or 3 games to go with it, which was amazing. And I remember spending a whole lot of time after that Christmas playing that machine, and it was a lot of fun. My other favorite gift that I got was a guitar. I was always fascinated ever since I was a little kid with the guitar. I loved it. The problem was I didn't know how to play the damn thing. But every time my father would leave and my mother would leave, they would go out like on date nights and stuff like that. I would babysit my little brother. And the first thing I would do was run straight to my father's room and snag his guitar. He had this acoustic guitar. And I didn't have the foggiest idea how to play it. But I just loved the sounds that it made as I would strum it. So one year for Christmas, I was starting to get into music and I was starting to enjoy it. And so I asked for a guitar for Christmas. Now I expected to get an acoustic guitar for Christmas, but what I got instead was an electric guitar for Christmas that had a built-in amp. And to me, that was the coolest damn thing I'd ever seen. Because I didn't have to plug it into anything, I could just turn it on and play it. And it sounded really good. Now in retrospect, as I look back, having had a career in music and owning guitars that, like I have a Kramer XL3, it's like $11,000. It's pearl white, pearl inlays, it's a beautiful guitar. And looking back, I can see that guitar was a very cheap and not a very good guitar at all. But to me at the time, that was the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I would sit there and I would just wail away on this guitar. And once again, I still had absolutely no idea how to play the damn thing. And it must have sounded god awful. And it was god awful at a very loud volume as well, which is never a good thing for the people around you. But man, did I have fun playing it. That gift led me to a career in music where I was on the radio, I was signed, and I made a living playing music for many, many years. And it all stems back to that gift. My last favorite gift that I've ever received on Christmas was one that was very, very sentimental to me. And it was a clock. And I know that sounds crazy that would be one of my favorite gifts. But it was one of those ones that you find at the mall and places where it's like that big picture that's like almost like a plaque or something, but it's huge and it's got a clock on it. They have all kinds of different ones. They have wolves and dragons and all kinds of stuff. This one happened to be a Native American scene, very, very beautiful scene, and it had a clock on it. I am part Native American. I have Cherokee and I have Blackfoot in me. And I'm very proud of that heritage. Now, it's not the majority of my heritage by any means. It's a very small portion of it. But at that time, I was starting to discover that side of my family tree. And I was becoming very, very interested in it. And my grandmother bought me that clock for Christmas. Now, she had lung cancer at the time, and it turns out she died not too long after that, before Christmas actually happened. And that clock was the only gift that she bought that year. So on her last Christmas, I received the only Christmas gift that she actually bought. I still, to this day, I was a child at the time. I was very, very young. Maybe just turning into a teenager, if even that. But I still, to this day, have that clock in my home. And it means a great deal to me. I recently did an investigation here in my town. And I'm going through all the footage now. And it might end up becoming an episode of Tales. But it kind of ties into this story because things did not end very well between me and my grandmother. My grandmother was a very strong and a very strong-willed woman. We were a lot alike. We butted heads a great deal because I was at the age where I was starting to become rebellious and just kind of figuring out who I am. And she still wanted me to listen to what she said, and I've never been good with authority in my entire life. So we would butt heads quite a bit. And Grandma was the kind of person that she didn't back down from nobody. It didn't matter how big you were, how bad you were, she didn't back down. She would whoop your ass. And so she would come right at me and I would go right at her and we would just have shouting matches, you know. One night I wanted to go do something or another with my friends. I don't even remember what it was about. And that's how silly it is. It was over nothing really. And she didn't want me to go. And so we argued and we fought and we screamed and hollered at each other like crazy people. And being a dramatic child like I was, I said something along the lines of "I hate you" or something like that and stormed out in a huff. Well, at that point in time, Grandma, like I said, had lung cancer and she had one of her lungs removed. And she ended up going to the hospital that night because she was not doing well at all. And I found out she went to the hospital, but I did not realize that it was as serious of a situation as it turned out to be. So I figured I would go and see her at the hospital the next day. That I wasn't going to make the trip up with the rest of the family to go visit her in the hospital tonight because, well, I was mad at her. We had just argued and fought. So I would show her I'd wait till the next day and then I'd go see her. But she had to know that I'm angry, so I'm not going to go tonight. It was childish and it was stupid, but I was a stupid child at that time. Well, Grandma ended up dying that night. And that sent me into a downward spiral that made me walk away from God. It made me turn into a very violent and a very mean person. I went a very bad direction because I was so angry that we argued and fought, and then she died before I could ever tell her I loved her and I was sorry. Even though it was 100% my fault. For whatever reason, I blamed God. And I cursed God, and I screamed at God, and I railed against Him, and I turned away from Him, and I went a different direction in my life. I ended up being a very mean and a very hateful person for many years. I was lost. I was beyond lost. I was destroyed on a lot of different levels. It took dying to bring me back to God. And I've told that story on other episodes. So the Eyewitness Accounts of Hell episode you can find on YouTube, that has the whole story of my death and my coming back. That brought me back to God. But I've still had that unanswered and undealt with situation of fighting with my grandmother and never getting to say that I'm sorry. Never getting to tell her just how much I loved her and how much she truly meant in my life. That was something that I thought would go unresolved for my entire life until the good Lord called me home and I would see her once again and I could finally tell her I was wrong. I could finally tell her that I'm sorry and that I love her. Well, that's what I thought was going to be the case. But this last investigation I was on, the reason I brought the investigation up, we were talking to a bunch of different spirits that night. We were getting some really good evidence, getting some really good responses, some really good intelligent responses. And it was really interesting and a really, really good investigation. So we're working with the Spirit Box, and I'm working with the Paratech app. And all of a sudden, across the thing comes the name Elsie. And that was my grandmother's name. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of other people with that name as well. But for some reason, I just kind of felt it in my heart. Just something inside me made me say, huh, that's not my grandma, is it? In a joking manner, but inside myself, I wasn't joking really. I felt like I was right, even though there was almost no way I could be. Because there's no real evidence at this point to say that it is. I just felt that way. So then across the ghost box again comes, we had a fight. I thought, whoa. Me and my grandmother had a fight right before she died. And so I said that out loud. And then across the things came, I had cancer. I knew at that point, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that I was probably talking to my grandma. Now, there's always a chance I wasn't. But I felt like I was. I just had that sixth sense inside myself that that was telling me that that's what was going on here. So I flat out asked, once again, if this was my grandmother. And if it was, at what age did she die? And they told me. It came across the right age, and I said, wow. So I thought, what the hell? If it is her, then I'm going to say what I wanted to say. And if it isn't her, oh well. I haven't lost anything. So I had the opportunity to tell my grandmother that I was sorry. I was sorry about that fight. I was sorry that I acted stupidly and that I walked away in anger. I was sorry that the last words that I ever spoke to her while she was living were words of hate. And I told her that I loved her. And then it came across that she was at peace now. So I had the feeling that that message was received, that she understood what I was saying and that she had really known all along. That's the feeling I had inside, is that she knew all along and she just wanted me to know that she was at peace and everything was fine. And so that, to me, was one of those miracles of Christmas kind of thing, because this just happened last week. This is very, very fresh for me. And that's what Christmas to me is all about. It's a time when you can let all that other nonsense go. The person that you're feuding with, you can just let it go and just be at peace. You can make up for past mistakes. You can build an amazing and wonderful future for yourself and in your relationships with other people that you know and that you love. To me, that's Christmas. Christmas is about family. Christmas is about love. I mean, that's what Jesus was about. That's what God is about, is love. And I think Christmas is the ultimate expression of that as far as a holiday goes. It's my absolute favorite time of the year. So I'm going to throw over to Old Boy, and I'd like to get some of his experiences, some of his favorite stuff. And I've got a couple other gifts that I can talk about when I come back. But I'm going to throw over to him now because I need a few.
Well, thank you, brother, and that's good to hear that. I'm glad you got some closure with your grandmother. Happy winter solstice, because technically it's winter solstice where James at. It's going to be soon here. Yule, Christmas, whatever. And let's get this straight. I don't care what you believe in. I like Christmas too. It's my second favorite holiday because I love Halloween, but this is getting a close second. And it doesn't offend me what you say, Hanukkah, solstice, Christmas. It's about getting along with each other. And the sad thing is about Christmas is, it's funny, maybe we should all live Christmas every day for 365 days a year. That's what Christmas should be, every day, or whatever holiday you celebrate at this time. Because I think that's what it's meant for peace, family, and getting along with everyone and loving each other. And it doesn't matter what religion you believe in or what you celebrate. That's what the main thing's about. And like some people think that, being Wicca and pagan, we're just sitting there with a pot with brew and trying to think of bad things to do. We don't. I want peace in the world just as much as a Christian does, or a Jew or a Muslim at this time of year. Whatever you celebrate, as long as you celebrate something and you're nice to each other, that's all that matters to me. I don't care what you believe in. And like I was telling James earlier before we started the show, I'll tell you about one of actually, this is kind of a scary thing. It's not really happy or bad. See, at my house, my mom she loves Christmas. It's favorite time. My mom's a reverend. She loves Christmas. And she used to get a big tree, 9, 10 feet, 11 even sometimes. Well, we would put this ornament, it's like an angel, and it was porcelain, like a porcelain doll angel on the top of the tree. It was like a star. So she put it up there. And I was telling James, I swear, every time this thing would stare at me, it would turn. And it would rotate. So we would change it and fix it. And there we go again. It would do it again. It was like it was watching me. It was always Erie's on Christmas. So that was one thing that always stuck in the back of my mind. And I just remembered it. And it would always happen every year. When we first got this thing, it would always feel like this thing was watching. I could see it move. And I knew it was. I hated at night to go by it because everything would be dark and they have the lights on. It would be like a white. She would do it like in white lights. So it looked like it was watching me all the time. It was really eerie. And I really want to check this thing out one day because I have the equipment and see if there's something on there. If I could ever find that ornament she still has or if she got rid of it. It was years ago. I haven't seen it for years. So hopefully I can find it. And then one day we can actually put it on video and we can see what the hell it was. So that was one of the memories. Now gifts, just like James, the Nintendo, Sega Genesis, the original Nintendo for Christmas, got that, loved it. Star Wars figures when I was a kid, and a drum set. Like him, he played guitar, I played drums. I wanted a drum set so bad, my parents got me a brand new drum set for Christmas. I remember I woke up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I saw it, so I pretended I didn't, but I was actually messing around with it, and they heard me. So they're, go back to bed. So I had to go back to bed that day, and I woke up the next morning, and that's the first thing I saw, and I played it all day and all night for years. I ended up getting 2, 3 more after that, but I loved that drum set. That was one of the things, because a lot of things have happened in my life, like James, on Christmas, so we all have bad and good memories. But that was one thing I really wanted, and I got it. And I was amazed because, everybody's gone through hardships and stuff like that, but my parents actually got me that drum set. And I was very thankful for that. I loved that drum set. And I used to play it all the time. Just like him, I used to play video games. I played them all night, especially when they got me the Nintendo. They got me the Nintendo 64. I played that all night that night. I remember playing it all night and never cared of anything else. What else I got? Usually clothes, cologne and candy and all kinds of stuff like that, and shirts. But that's what they got me, and I got a couple games with it. I think I got Super Mario Brothers with it and something else, Zelda or something. And I played that all day night. And the next day, in California, I was one of the only schools that did tracks. So every 4 months, you would have 2 months off. So Christmas time, I would be lucky to get Christmas and summer off. It was the best time ever. And I would do Christmas, so I would have all this time off. So I got to play with all my Christmas gifts for 2 months. And then I got bored of them, and then, next year, like everybody does. So that's some of the stuff that, that I had great memories of. And I have a lot of bad memories because a lot of family passed away around this time. My great-grandmother, we were going to go see her like the day before New Year's. My grandmother was going to fly out to Pennsylvania because I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, outside of Pennsylvania, in Aliquippa, right by Pittsburgh. And my grandmother was going to go visit, and her mother, and we went to Las Vegas because it's cheaper to fly out from Vegas than it is California. She ended up passing away, and I felt bad for my grandmother. My grandmother was my world, just like James's. I didn't have an argument with my grandmother, and I was actually very close to my grandmother. Another thing is she was going to go see her dad, and the night she was going to go, she ended up passing away too. So she never had good luck on that. And it was around Christmas time. And then my grandfather ended up passing around, getting real sick. And he ended up dying a couple months later, but it was around Christmas time when it happened. So I always have a lot of things with Christmas time. Plus, my real dad never was in my life since I was like 4 or 5. So that was kind of depressing too, because a lot of people don't know how it is to have a parent that don't want you. And that bothered me since I was, till I was a teenager, and I got over it and didn't care anymore. But that's one thing that it's sad because I have two sisters I will never see because to what I've researched, my real dad died just the recent couple months ago. So I'll never know what really happened. And I don't want to get into that because that's not what we're trying to do, is make everybody cry. But that's why I have two things on Christmas. I like Christmas, but I don't. And also because I was married before, I have a wonderful girlfriend, soon to be my wife. But there are some things in my past that I don't like about Christmas. But I loved it because my daughter loved it. My daughter loves Christmas. And it was always, this is one of the best moments. I don't care about anything that's ever happened in the drum set, whatever. The best gift that I ever have is seeing my daughter when I got her first bike, and her smile and just the warmth of how happy she was. That's what really matters to me, and anything else is I used to like to see my daughter's face because she loved Christmas. She would get anything she wanted. She was spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. My parents spoiled her. I spoiled her. Her mother spoiled her. The family spoiled her. She was the only child, so she got whatever she wanted, doll houses. But she was not like bad spoiled. But she loved everything, and I just loved seeing her face glow, and making her feel good. And she loved watching Christmas movies, and I remember that good. Not everything was bad. I remember that good of it. That I would get that feeling of seeing her happy. That's all that mattered to me. I could die tomorrow, but as long as my daughter is happy with, that's how I felt. That made my day on Christmas. I could care less what happened. The moon could have hit us, and I wouldn't care because as long as my daughter was happy, that's all that mattered to me. Because that's one thing. She's like I said. One day I don't know if we'll ever be able to do it. I'll explain that why it means a lot to me. But that was one of my favorite memories, of seeing my daughter enjoy Christmas, and seeing everybody enjoy Christmas, my family and stuff like that, and friends. And I love seeing that. And that's what Christmas is really about, or whatever you want to call it. It's about being good to each other and loving each other's family, and not putting each other down, and caring about each other, what we should be doing every day of our lives. But it doesn't happen because everybody just has difference of opinions, and there's some people who just don't care, and there's nothing you can do. You can't explain for other people. You can only make yourself better. I can't explain for what James does or anybody does. I'm not saying using him as an example, but anybody's what they do in their life. They're going to choose the path they choose, just like I chose my own. So that's what I remember. And back in Pennsylvania, it used to snow all the time, and I loved snow. Here in California, it only snows once in a while here, because everybody thinks we live in a beach and that's it. No, I live in the desert. It's by the mountains. So I do get snow once in a while, and I love snow. I love the feeling of the winter. Winter is one of my favorite holidays. Fall and winter are my favorite. I love the crisp air. I like to see my breath. I like to see snow everywhere. It's beautiful. I love the chill. I love to have fires in my house. I love it. I love the feel of it. I love the time. There's nothing. I hate being hot. And I even, I hate the heat altogether. But I have good and bad memories of Christmas, but I enjoyed that about Christmas. And I enjoy the food. I'm a big guy. I like food. And, your eggnog and all this, whatever the apple tea was. I just love the feeling in the shows. And I do have a side of me like that, surprisingly, because people know how I am. But that's how I feel about solstice and Christmas. Whatever you guys want to call it, it doesn't matter to me. As long as you treat each other right, that's all. I try to treat people right, but you know how that goes. But that's all I'm going to say, James. There you go.
It's amazing the lengths that you will go for your family. How much joy their happiness can bring you. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And Christmas really brings that out. Because, like I said earlier, it's that time of year when you can get something for somebody that you love that will just make them light up and make them so happy. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. My mother loves nativity scenes, but we never really had a nativity scene because we grew up in the military. So we moved every couple years. And one thing about moving every couple years is the moving company conveniently loses stuff a lot. Now, whether they lose it or whether it goes to their house, I don't know how that works, but it does not meet you at your new destination a lot of times. So we never really had a nativity scene growing up, but she's always loved them. And I remember a couple years ago, I asked her what she wanted for Christmas. And my books were doing well, and I had a little bit of money. And I wanted to get her something really, really nice, something better than I could ever get her before. Because I really wanted to make her happy. And I remember she told me that all she wanted for Christmas was a nativity scene because she never had one before and she always wanted one. And she loved them so much. So I went looking for a really cool nativity scene for her. And I ended up finding at this little antique shop a handmade and carved and painted and the whole nine nativity scene. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It was also very, very expensive, but I had the money to pay for it. I was doing well, and so I bought it. I'm the kind of person that is very, very bad at waiting. I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to Christmas gifts. Now, as far as what I'm getting, I was never the kid that would go and peek and try to find out because I don't really care what I'm getting. It doesn't matter that much to me. But when I have a very, very cool gift to give somebody that I know they're going to love, it takes everything I have in me to not give it to them immediately and make them open it. And that's what was going on here. Every day I wanted her to open that gift because I knew she was going to love it. But see, my mother is the exact opposite when it comes to Christmas and patience. She's the kind that you have to wait until Christmas morning to open your gifts. We would all be allowed to open one gift on Christmas Eve, but the rest of the gifts had to wait till Christmas. And she would not open her gift until Christmas. So I was forced to wait and wait and wait and wait, which, to be honest with you, drove me absolutely crazy because I desperately wanted to give her this gift because I knew it was going to be an amazing gift. So Christmas comes and she opens a gift and she absolutely loved it. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And to me, that's one of my favorite Christmas memories because I was very, very blessed in my life. I talked earlier about how when I was little and I was growing up, we were very, very poor. But I don't judge happiness or success by the amount of money in the bank. I mean, honestly, money does not mean a damn thing to me. It's a tool that I have to use to pay the bills, but I do not care about it at all. And maybe that's because I grew up without it. Maybe that's why I don't care about it, but it doesn't matter to me. But to see her that happy when she and my father as well, they dedicated their entire lives to making sure that me and my little brother never felt like we were poor. We always had everything that we needed and some of the things that we wanted. They would do without to make sure that we had. I was blessed with an amazing, amazing family. I joked around a lot that my family was like Leave It to Beaver because we were very close and very tight-knit, and we tell each other we love each other every single day of our lives. And there was never a day that passed in my life that I didn't 100% know that my mother and my father loved me more than anything in the world. And they raised me to believe that there is absolutely nothing that you cannot accomplish if you're willing to work hard and you're willing to put in the time and put in the effort, that there's nothing that you can't do in this world. And I humbly believe that I have lived that life. I've accomplished some amazing things in my life. And I think a lot of that is because of the support that I received from them growing up. The love and the lessons that I learned about hard work and about perseverance and never giving up and just fighting for what you want and fighting for what you believe in. Those lessons served me very, very well in my life. And as a takeaway from this episode, I'd kind of like to go back to the theme of family a little bit and say, once again, that you will do anything in the world for your family. And that's a beautiful thing, but I think people need to realize, and my message to everybody listening, is every single one of you are family. You are all my brothers. You are all my sisters. If you're a Christian like I am and you believe in the Bible, then we all came from Adam and Eve. If you do not believe in the Bible and you're not a Christian, and you are one of those people that believes in science, not religion, that's fine. Then if you're a person that believes in evolution, then somewhere back in the distant past, we evolved from something. At some point, there was a single man and a single woman that produced a human child. So we all come from those two people. Whether it is Adam and Eve, whether it is just two randos that lived in Africa somewhere. Either way, we all come from the same two ancestors. So we are all family. No matter what color you are, no matter which country you live in, no matter which God you choose to pray to, or if you pray to none at all, every single one of you are my brothers and my sisters. We are all related. We are all family. I think that if we treated each other as family, and we tried to live that Christmas feeling, that feeling that we have during Christmas time, that makes us be better people and makes us love our fellow man. If we tried to stay connected to that feeling throughout the year, I think the majority of the problems that we have on this planet would just kind of work themselves out. You don't want to go to war with somebody that you love. You don't want to kill your own family. Most people don't, at least. Unless you're kind of nuts. If a member of your family is hungry, you make sure they have food. If a member of your family is sick, you take care of them. If we could all just remember that we're family and love each other and take care of each other, I think a lot of this stuff will just work itself out. You know, we will have a much better world and a much better future So that would be my message, my takeaway message for the night. And I just want to tell every single one of you listening that I love you. And I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. And I hope that you have health. I hope that you have a very, very good Christmas. I hope that your family does well. I hope that your children's faces light up when they see what Santa brought them and what you got them. I sincerely hope that all of you guys have the very best Christmas you've ever had. Now I'm going to throw it back over to Old Boy for his ending thing and then his shout-outs.
Well, thanks again, brother. And I want to thank James for doing this show, because this is probably what people are going to say, well, why are we listening to this? Because this has nothing to do with paranormal or ghost or, crypto. Well, you got to realize we did talk about ghost in this, about James's grandmother. And we did talk about paranormal and with the angel on top of the tree. So there was a little bit in there. You guys probably got that, but every time we don't have to talk about 100% all crypto all the time. It's almost Christmas. We want you guys, and it is solstice, so we want everybody to enjoy it. And Hanukkah is already over, but we want everybody to enjoy the show we do. And we did this so everybody could like this, not just one person, everybody. And I just want everybody to have a great Christmas and try to get along with each other. I know it's hard sometimes. I know people have different views and different opinion, but that's what's great about us, that we're all different, but one time we can all get together and just try to get along with each other. I know it's sounds good to be true, but I wish it would happen, because it's not good to fight, like James says, to go to war with people you care about. It's crazy how people love their family, but they hate strangers on the drop of a dime. And I think we all do that, but I don't understand why we can't just treat each other like family, like James was saying earlier. And I never understood that, and I never will. And it's just, I guess that's how we are. We're made that way. We're made to hate and love each other. Like, people can love each other, and at a drop of a dime over something they don't agree with, they can just stop talking to each other forever. And it happens. And then some people could do the most dangerous, nasty things to each other and then forgive each other the next day. It just, people are different. But I wish everybody could get along. I wish everybody can enjoy this holiday and enjoy each other, and would treat each other every day like this. But you can only ask for so much, but we all should get it one day. I hope everybody can enjoy this holiday. I hope you don't let the tragedies of what's going on in the world get to you, because you can't control that. Try to enjoy this holiday this week and next week, and enjoy it with your family and loved ones and your friends. So I want to give a shout out to everybody on Staring Into the Abyss. I want to thank you guys all for listening to us, letting us do these shows every week, and letting us do stuff we love to do. We love to entertain you guys. The Para X, thank you guys for having us on, and every week we get to enjoy every Sunday. YouTube, I'm glad everybody's following us, 4,100 people and counting. We even have people from Discovery knows who we are now, from TV shows, Lifetime, a couple other channels, a popular radio show knows who we are. We're starting to get known out there, guys, and I'm so happy about it, because everybody deserves credit for this. You guys do, for helping us become what we are. If it wasn't for you guys, we would be nothing. The fans and the people who follow us and love us, if it wasn't for you, we'd be nothing. We wouldn't be doing we would be doing the show, but there would be no one there to listen. So we love to do this show for you guys, and I want you guys to have a wonderful Christmas. Happy New Year's, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Solstice for tomorrow. Yule. And if you don't believe in anything, I hope you have the best day you don't believe in anything on Christmas on the 25th. Whatever you do, even if you don't want to celebrate Christmas, I just hope that you do something good for yourself or whoever you love and enjoy each other. That's all that matters. Because you only live life once and that's it. And you'll never get another chance. Because some things are not meant forever. Remember that. Nothing lasts forever. And like James said, you can be mad at somebody and the next day they could be gone. And you'll never get to tell them what you really truly feel about them. And don't take life for granted. So I want everybody to have a great holiday this year. Merry Christmas. I love you guys. Misfits, Sugar Ladies, Monster Hunters, and Demon Lovers. Blessed be. Blessed Yule. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
I want to thank you guys for listening. I want to thank everyone for your support and your love. We receive a lot of messages and emails and that kind of thing from the listeners, and that's really, really cool. We're going to be doing a show coming up here before too long that is going to be your experiences in the paranormal. I've told some of my stories, Old Boy's told some of his. We've covered a lot of amazing topics, and we're going to cover a lot of amazing topics in the future as well. We're by no means done. We barely scratched the surface. But I've received a great deal of letters and stuff from you guys telling me about events that have happened in your life, telling me about scary things that have happened and crazy things that have happened. And some of them are very, very interesting and very cool. So I thought it would be fun to do a show that is just filled with that, filled with your stories. So if you would like your story to be included, here's what you do. You can email me at horrorauthorjameshershey.Jr. Or you can go onto Facebook and go to the Facebook page for Staring Into the Abyss. I believe the address to that is facebook.com/Staring Into the Abyss. I'm pretty sure that's it. But if not, you can look in the search and you can find us. And just send us a message and tell us your stories. I have some already picked out for the episode, and I will go through all of your letters and all your messages, and I will pick some more. Some things that are interesting and sounds like, most people would be into. And we will do an episode coming up that is going to be just filled with your experiences. I think that's going to be a brilliant episode. I'm really looking forward to doing that. So once again, thank you. We love you a whole bunch. And just thank you. I mean, that's really all I can say. And I want everybody that's listening to have a very Merry Christmas. And we will see you again on the next episode. So until we speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.